Okay, we're going to get started. Thanks for your patience and we were organizing some of the certificates and things like that, and we realized there was a little bit of a glitch. So we had to go back and get things figured out and make sure that it was done right. But once again, thanks for coming this evening to recognize our Hoquiam retirees and those that also are Pillar Awards. It's a big event, and it's a testament to those serving in our district. Look around. It's pretty good attendance tonight, so applaud to you for making the effort to come tonight. Thank you. It's a beautiful day outside, and most people like to take advantage of that. A few years ago, and if this is your first event, or maybe your second or third, or you've been coming for a long time, a few years ago the board adopted these 4 pillars. And while we're not perfect, I believe that we are a district trying to live up to these 4 pillars and by the actions and the way we do things. And it's a lens that I try daily to put in my brain as I make decisions. And the first one is meaningful relationships. And that we as the Hoquiam staff, if we really do believe that we can reach the hearts of kids, that we have to establish a meaningful relationship. And that starts by the interactions we have with kids, interactions we have with the community, interactions with parents. It starts with a relationship. And you only know that young adults and young children will only learn if they feel that there's a trust. That's true. That goes with adults. You won't learn anything unless you really feel that there's a trust there. And so we strive to have that there's a sense of belonging. And that requires a lot of work. Like everything else, there's probably days that we do better than others. And no different than in a relationship. The second pillar means this, that we believe that we need to engage and keep engaged learners. That's our job as teachers. How do we engage all students for learning? It means, in my head sometimes, like to fish, it means changing the lure, changing the bait. Just because we're on the boat fishing or wherever we're at, it means changing what we're doing so we engage everybody. So every student has the opportunity to learn. And so that's our job as teachers and as support staff and everybody in the district. What are we doing to be able to keep our students engaged with our Hoquiam system, right? We study and we look at rates, trends. One of the rates that Brock studies all the time is our graduation rate. Where are we starting with kids that start in 9th grade all the way through high school? And where do we get kids that come through completely through our system? Where do they go? There's a lot that go right through, and some drop off for whatever reason. How do we keep them engaged? One of the ways that we can keep them engaged is through our adaptive pathways. This has been a shift in the last few years, is that how do we ensure that everybody gets across the line and graduates and finds a pathway to success? Not everybody's cut out to go to a 4-year school. Maybe it's a 2-year school. Maybe it's the armed forces. Regardless of that, we want to support kids that they are prepared in whatever pathway that they choose, that they have options. No different like adults. We as adults want options. A lot of times you tell an adult this is what you're going to do, they're going to buck. And they're going to say, no, I know this, and I want options. Kids are the same way. And so how do we engage students? How do we prepare them? We give them different adaptive pathways. And another pillar is our community connections. How are we continuing to build trust and a shared trust and responsibilities that everybody in our community values this, that we're continuing working with our community. Hoquiam is a wonderful place to live, and I know that. If you would ask me that 8 years ago, I assumed that. But now being 8 years and having raised 2 younger boys, for sure, and your sister here, I know that. Why? Is because we have a community that cares. You guys see it every day. We see it every day. And it is a place where we want to be. And so these are the 4 pillars. And so during the year, when we asked the staff to say, who are staff that represent these 4 pillars? You know, and we talk about it periodically throughout the year, but who are the staff that, when you think about meaningful relationships, that comes to mind. Each one of the pillars. And so opportunity came about that folks had a chance to write in some of the things about staff. And so tonight we're going to recognize those staff that received multiple nominations regarding the EGIM pillar. And so we're going to do all, but I have all the principals and the directors, all directors, come up and we'll shake hands up here. We're going to do them by pillar. And we're going to call out those who received the pillar awards. Okay? Nothing fancy, certificate, and then if you, and a lanyard that has the pillar, the correct pillar on that. And so, if I can get the admin teams, principals, directors, all directors, there we go. Somewhere behind you. Central Elementary School, Shannon Jacobson. Overall District, Nicole Fry. This is for meaningful relationships. Emerson, Paulina Cooper. John Johnson. High school, Jen Pace. Middle school, Rochelle Andrews. Homeland, Suzette Hewitt. Lincoln, Tracy Brownray. Maintenance Department, Tony Wright. Transportation, Jan Magri. Engaged learners. For Central Engaged Learners, Karen Kazan. For District, Cindy Torres. For Emerson, Morgan Tingle. For Food Service, Jason Smith. For the high school, Mike Perriand. For the middle school, Tiffany Kelly. For Home Lake, Katie Ide. For Lincoln, Chan Byron. Adaptive Pathways. Central is Paige Folkers. District, Drew Gwynn. Emerson, Tammy Talbot. Food Service, Nikki Eldridge. High School, Katie Barr. Middle School, Cindy Maya. Homeland, Katie Ivey. Lincoln, Carolyn Joanne Johnson. Maintenance, Jim McDougall. Transportation, you got those. You got Tristan Andrews and James Bro. Come on, Bro. Okay, Community Connections. Central is Erica Robinette. District, Shane Crone. Emerson, Kristen Kellogg. Food Service, Cindy Kerrigan. The high school, Gabe Chavez. The middle school, Jean Glasgow.
Queen Jean.
Starts to be called Queen. I have a ballot when I walk into the office. Homeland, Suzette Good. Lincoln, Teresa Sararese. Maintenance, Ken Goodenough. Transportation, Kathy Smith. Those are the Blue Awards. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. Now, before we jump into the retiree piece of this, Mark wrote a couple minutes ago, and I think this is appropriate. And so I'm going to have to talk to him because he knew these individuals more than I do.
well, many of these individuals more than I did. But when we talk about the Pillar Awards, there's a couple people that we have lost recently as a school district. One of them being Connie Tobin recently, and I mean, when I think of Connie, I know she helped me through some things, and so I look at, engaged learners, and she was always, the flowers and stuff. She's part of the crew around the community that did the flowers and the flower baskets and stuff, and so her funeral is I think the 14th. What's that? 1 o'clock, where's that? At Nathan School. The day, which is the day after graduation, so. And then another person that we have lost recently is my parent. And he was my basketball coach, my English teacher. He had great relationships with students. He was very engaging as a teacher, I can tell you that for sure. But anyway, so I just wanted to at least do a shout out to them or remembrance, just because there were 2 people that did impact our district and work here. So I thank them for what they did. So, and his funeral is, or celebration of life is the day, it's this weekend, this Saturday. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brock. You guys know Brock. He pretty much grew up here, graduated here. And what I appreciate is him knowing that, recognizing, coming up and saying, Mike, I think it would be appropriate to share this. That's important. And that's what we value here at Hoquiam. And, yes, it's a celebration of retirement and things back and forth, but these are people, those individuals served in this district and impacted students and community members. And it's unfortunate. Life's journey brings a lot of ups and downs, but I think it is also very appropriate to bring that up. So thank you. Anybody have a wild guess? The only reason why I know is because I had to tabulate the numbers. We have between classified and certificated folks retiring this year. How many years total we might have? I'll tell you, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individuals. Anybody have a wild guess? 158. 170. 238. 210. Okay, those are actually really pretty good guesses. You start thinking about it, getting out about 30 years, a little bit more, a little bit less. 183, and the only reason I'm going to add 0.6. Mr. Jones said, well, I had 0.6. We're not going to sure I knew that. And so there's 183.6 years in that group. Okay? And so I thought, what happened? So that's 183 years ago, which would have been 1842. Okay? So Hoquiam wasn't patched yet, but there was still some things happening around the world. So, on August 29, 1842, the Treaty of Nanking ends, the First World War. So, interesting thing, I don't remember that in my history class. However, China ceded Hong Kong Island to Britain that year. Now, that's important to know. Anybody know China, Hong Kong, right? Enter anesthesia. Ether anesthesia was used for the first time in 1842. Okay? The mass migration begins on the Oregon Trail in 1842. Great, coming from Independence, Missouri toward Oregon Territory. This one's for those that are readers. Charles Dickens publishes Old Curiosity Shop in 1842. And although it began in 1840, the novel was completed and became a massive success apparently in 1842. And so think about how far that 1842. That's how many years, 186 years, 6 experience this group. Class, and what I call the group, the class of 2025 are retiring. And so, I'd like to honor these individuals. I know I'm going to turn the mic over to Jan Magri, who's the president of the classified group. Before doing so, we have Annette Moore with, at least on our records, 33 years. Is that correct? Okay. All here hoping that that's not true. There was some abroad, wasn't there? That's right. Okay. Yeah, that triggered my mind. Someone said that, and I go, yeah, I remember there was someone abroad. And then Brian Jones, 30.6. And he said all 30 in here, except for the 6. Does anybody know where the 6 came from? Huh? Bobcats. Yes. They wouldn't let him do instant teaching here, and they also picked up a class right afterwards over there. Is that right? 2 classes before he could talk. And so that's where he got the 0.6. We also have, in the this year, some went out a little earlier, depending on, unfortunately, due to some health issues, it's classified. And so we're recognizing them tonight. And some are not here, but we have Mona Ivy. Her husband's here. Chris, who's on the board, and he is 17 years. And I did write in the booklet to keep you busy. So now she's home, to keep you busy and stuff. 17 years. Lori Cody, who actually went out a little over a year ago, right? But she had 31 years total, but 23 with PSC. So you think about that. Janet Carr, 29 years in the district. And Brenda McCoy, 21, but 35 with all of her volunteer work. Believe I And Karen Caval, 22 years. So that's the rounds up to 183.6. So I'm gonna, you know what, let's have our 2 certificated folks come up, Brian and Annette. All right, Mr. Jones. There you go. A little token of appreciation. I don't know what's in there. I'll just say there you go. And thank you for your service. Thank you. Jan, do you want to come up? I know she's.
Okay. My bus boy. Okay, so I think, Brenda, you are the one that's here. Now, Brenda and I have known each other for all the time we were here. Of course, I have bus stories. So, 21 years, Brenda. How many times did you go to Victoria? I think 4 times? Four times. Well, yeah, same. Whatever happens in Victoria stays there. So some of those stories we don't want to tell. But my favorite one was we went up one year and they always went swimming, like Roger, and we're going, of course, going down this road, Roger, I think this is the turn. And he said, no, that's not the turn. So we went to the next road and ended up in a cul-de-sac with 2 buses, and people out, beautiful day, people out mowing the lawn, and you could see them as we were working our way around this cul-de-sac, and everybody was going, where's so, and on that same trip, Rod will remember, and Brenda, we always went to a store. So we pulled into the store, kind of blind to the parking lot, and pulled in there, and or car show going on? And 2 buses. I mean, we got more cheers than the cars did. Of course, the kids enjoyed it because they had the windows down and yelling at everybody at the car show. So we always had those good times. Brenda, you're always great on the bus. We had so much good times. And I just talked about Victoria before. We made a lot of other trips, didn't we? So I am passing this on, certificate of appreciation from PSE. It is signed by Heather Christensen. She is the PSE state president. Thank you.
Well, I'll end right on time here. What a blessing it is to have, first of all, thanks for all of you coming. What a blessing it is to have you here to recognize and acknowledge those who have served. And yes, some folks didn't make it tonight. Regardless of that, their impact is being felt in our community. And we feel it. And that is felt every day. This is that time of year, at the end of the year, where there's a lot of big push to finish school. And I don't think teachers, this is the time that they're excited to push the kids home. And we're the same way with the teachers. And there's just a lot of big things, a lot of things happening. Regardless of that, everyone's coming and everyone's wanting to be recognized, felt, acknowledged. And you look at kids, they get off the buses, you look at and walk to school, they're looking for contact. They're looking for these things. They're wanting down deep inside that someone knows who they are. And I'm proud to be part of this community. I'm proud to be able to say that we're making efforts to become the very best. And there's always opportunities to grow. You look at, we had some young youth, high school students participated at state this last weekend. And they did well. They did well. They represent this community. And I hear about it when I attend different meetings of who we are and what we're trying to become. And so, with that said, I wrote down some thoughts here. As you retire, those from your role in Hoquiam School District, we extend our deepest appreciation for the many ways that you've made a difference. Whether it was in a classroom, on the bus, in the office, the cafeteria, the library, or even on the grounds, your work was embodied in the values at the heart of this district. You have built meaningful relationships that have offered students a sense of belonging and support. You touched people's lives, young people's lives. You contributed to engage learners by creating a safe, clean, and welcoming spaces where learning can thrive. You supported adaptive pathways by ensuring every student's needs were met, academically, emotionally, and physically. And through your actions, you've strengthened our community connections, reinforcing that every role matters in a child's success. With that being said, you saw an email that went out this morning. The days are kind of a blur. I think it was this morning. I'm going to start writing it a couple days. About inviting all district staff to sit at graduation behind the seniors. If you haven't done it before, I encourage you to think about it. Those that have, especially in the first couple of years, they've shared with me later emails. Thanks for asking and encouraging to do it, because here's what happens. There is a feeling, I'm lucky that I get to lead them. All the work is happening in the classroom. All I get to do is do the march in. But what happens is when they break through and you're sitting there, prior to them sitting down, I can hear them say, that's my teacher. That's my bus driver. That's my. I've heard that as I walked there. That's the coolest part. I encourage you, all staff, to be there 13th. See the email, be there a little early, so you can be sitting there. Because afterwards, staff have shared with me, thanks for the invitation, because it was pretty cool to see them coming, because some way you touched their lives. You touched their lives. And you may have thought maybe it was very, very small, but maybe it was a lot of influence. Or maybe it was so many years ago because you had them down in elementary, and now you haven't seen them since. But I guarantee you they remember you and that interaction, that experience. So I encourage you to come. It takes everybody to do this work. Thank you for your years of service, for your heart and your commitment to the students and families of Hoquiam. Your legacy will always be a part of who you are. Thank you. And with that said, I also want to thank the crew for setting up. There is a retirement celebration recognition committee that put this on. Brianne led some of that work, a lot of it. Who's here from that committee? Please stand up. There's a lot of planning and things like going on. And thank you. And with that said, we'll end. And there's probably a few more snacks. And I'll turn the mic over to Brianne.
All right, the band was able to welcome us as we came in. Tonight they want to send Brenda off with a special performance for her. So I welcome everybody to stand outside and come enjoy the band.
So I'm putting in all my end of year stuff. Not the whole thing, just that. I was so proud of myself. Yeah, like that.
Hey, Susan. It goes well.
Can we close things out with the bikes on?